Alright, what's good, YouTube? Talking about why SpiritualJah is on the spiritual path and why you guys should be too. So, today, I don't want to get too off track. I'm going to just get right into it. So, to start off the first story, I have three for y'all in total. But the first one is about my uncle taking me and my three cousins to the beach. So, this day was a stormy day, as I'm not lying to y'all. So today was probably one of the scariest days out there on the water I've seen, and I live in a place where the beach is pretty much the main key to life. So that could be a hint to y'all to where I live. I don't really like letting people know where I live, so it's just a hint for everybody. But yeah, so we're on the way to the beach, and everything is quiet and a little bit tense because a few days prior we had gotten in trouble for talking out of our asses, because that's what kids do. I'm like 10, and then my cousins, they're both girls, they're like 12. So this is the situation. I live in a Jamaican household on my dad's side, and they take respect and authority very seriously, as you all may know. But if you don't know, that is the case. Education, structure, all that is passed down to us, and we care a lot about all that stuff. So it's important to us to not be talking out your ass. But we were talking, about our family affairs to each other and about adults in our life that we shouldn't be talking about. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you make decisions that you end up, regretting down the line. And this is one of the big pieces that put me on the spiritual path, because it taught me about a lot of different things, and I'll explain that throughout the story. So once we get to the beach, I realized that it's not a normal day at the beach, right? So it's pretty choppy and the water is unreadable. And I'm someone who's very comfortable in the water, who understands water. I'm actually trying to get into surfing and boxing and all that stuff on this channel, and trying to get young men out of just being in games and stuff. There's a lot of things that you can do in life that aren't being shown, because those kinds of people are actually busy doing those things in life. But I digress. So I'm just trying to, I'm looking out at the water, I'm looking up at the sky, because the wind, water, all that stuff is connected. So I'm looking at the sky, I'm looking at how dark it is, I'm looking at how the wind is picking up a lot. And there's flags out on the beach, which is already a bad sign. Like, once you see signs out on the water, that's usually a sign to not get in. But, like I said, Jamaican people do not give a single F about any of that stuff. That stuff don't matter. What sign? Sign? You see a sign? Me see no sign. Me see straight forward. Forward. That's what me see. So, that's how my uncle was really going about life at that point in time, because we were kind of talking ish about the stuff that he had going on. And yes, I am a man of darker skin tone, but that does not mean I'm not supposed to be able to see my own hand. Dark gray, it's light gray, it's gray, but it's almost beautiful in a way, where it's like you kind of have to respect it. There's a storm brewing up, the water is brewing up, everything is just leading to get the hell out of the way. So instead of that, we decided to go straight into that storm. But that's just how it goes sometimes. So we end up getting into the water. We're in like a single file line. So the way my uncle had it is that he didn't want us to die, I'm guessing. So what he did instead was, there's like a pier, which is like a ridge that's really close to like the shore, but it's really high up. It's probably like 30-40 feet up in the sky. Yeah, so we were trying to swim near the pier, just in case anybody had maybe got lost or stuck. They could just swim to the pier and maybe hold on, and then somebody would come out. But obviously that wouldn't be ideal either, being stuck on a pillar while the storm is getting worse and worse. So the plan is to swim out, like where we are actually at in the water. So it's pretty far. It's a pretty decent swim, you know. So we start this journey. My uncle's first, my other cousin from Jamaica second, and my cousin who is from America is third, and then I'm last. So we're all swimming in single file line to our death. That's what we're thinking. But no, it wasn't our death. It was more of like a slow motion journey, you know. So but things just didn't turn out how I thought they would go. So I'm thinking that I would just do fine. You know, I'm the boy of the group. You know, say what you want to say, but I was young. But I'm just thinking that I'm gonna do fine because I, one, know how to swim, and two, I'm just comfortable in the water to a certain degree. But I'm also the youngest of the group, so I'm actually in the back, and I'm starting to lose my placement in the line. Like I'm starting to fall short of everybody, and that's not good. So I'm thinking a lot. I'm thinking about the sky. I'm thinking about why we're in this situation and what's going on in my life that could have led me to this point, and all good stuff, that good jazz. But I ended up locking in because at that point I could not continue to keep dragging behind because the water in the sky was getting worse, and I didn't want to drown. Second story time. So the reason why SpiritualJah is on the spiritual path and why you should be too. So I decided to change the setup a little bit for the second one. You know what I'm saying? But this one is a little bit more lighthearted than the other one. The other one was about my uncle, and really the moral of that story is really don't talk about things that you don't understand. Make sure that you keep going even if things are scary. And sometimes it's okay to be afraid. And fear is a part of being alive. And I just had a deeper connection with the ocean after that. I always loved the ocean and the water. But that really brought me to a deeper place. Because everything starts in the water, everything starts in water. Alright, so the second story is actually about me and my friend buying a gun. Yes, a gun. And this didn't end up turning up the way that most transactions would. So when you live in America, guns to most people is like second nature. And with it being second nature, it's kind of something that you cannot get around, and the people that I was associated with tend to gravitate towards guns, not on like some gang stuff, but like just learning about guns, shooting guns, different calibers, weapons. Live in a place where when you're young, you go hunting pretty young, you learn about weapons pretty young, and how to take care of yourself and all that stuff. So it's important to not reject the culture that you grew up in. So I try to just embrace it and learn more about it. But so one day I decided I was going to buy a registered firearm. I was 18, I'm 24 now, and this is 100% legal in my state. So I wanted to make sure that was clear. This is all legal. And I actually bought the weapon from a retired police officer. He was like probably like 85, pushing 90. Old white dude. But he was chill. He taught me a lot about weapons and stuff like that. So actually, I'm talking about a different story. That was a different one. My bad. The one I'm actually talking about today is when me and my friend actually drove to buy the weapon. This is my first registered weapon. Technically, that weapon, that's a different story. So, we were a little bit careless back then. You know, being young, kind of would just go to one of our friends close by, like Rangers, because his family owned like a pretty big property and stuff like that. Or we would just go to, Rangers here and there. But for the most part, we didn't really do the right gun safety laws. We were supposed to really go through multiple courses and get a better understanding of weapons before we actually went into doing all this stuff. Somebody could have got hurt. Luckily, nobody did. But this is why I'm explaining this story, because we almost actually lost our lives trying to purchase this to get this weapon of mass destruction. No, I'm just playing, but yeah, it's definitely a weapon that can take people's lives. It's a 38 special. So it's a decent caliber. It's a pretty decent bullet size. So we decided to meet this guy at Home Depot, like in the parking lot, because it's better to do things in public, do things where you can, if anything turns south, you can kind of just go back to normal conditions. You don't really have to worry too much about what's going on around you. Because if you meet someone in a place where you're not comfortable, or if you feel like you're not safe, then that's not really smart, especially for like what we were buying, what I was buying really. So we decided on Home Depot parking lot, and everything works out fine. We get to the address, and we're meeting the dude there, and he's actually waiting for us. So once we get there, we kind of just park like a few parking lots away, and then we're walking over to his car, and he notices us walking over. We've had multiple conversations about the weapon and stuff like that, and he has it in his trunk, and he's parked in a way to where his trunk is parked or like facing us, and he notices us and gets out. So we come a little closer, we're having a little bit of conversation, it's like, yo, Wagwan, of that, ting and ting, you want the gun, you want bread. So, he's Jamaican, so he's also from like a certain place where there's a lot of Jamaican, Haitian people, different cultures that are in this area. And I'm like, oh, you're Jamaican, so we're connecting, and we're talking, speaking Pato back and forth. That's like Jamaican dialect, if you guys don't know. And we're getting acquainted with each other in like real time, not just text messages and stuff. And we just start talking about the gun and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's new and everything like that. Just come look, Bertie, come look. And then he opens his trunk. It's like a new Maserati. I think he like rented it out, or maybe not. I'm pretty sure, because the trunk was really clean. The only thing that she saw was the gun case in it. So I'm thinking like, okay, well maybe he's just renting out this car, which is a little bit of a red flag to me, because why is this not your personal vehicle that you're doing this in? But I kind of let it slide. I didn't really know for sure if it was or wasn't. So he's opening the gun safe because he's gonna show me the gun, which prove that it's actually in there. I didn't really need all that. I believe him. Just open up the case, show me the weapon, close the case, be done the sale, everything would have been fine. But no, that's not what he did. He decides to open the case, take out the gun, and he is messing with it a little bit. And me and my friend are looking at each other, and in a split second, my friend's on the other side of the trunk. I'm closest to him. He's nearest to the trunk, and the gun goes off. He had a loaded gun in his trunk that he was going to sell us. The gun goes off into the trunk, like bang. Like I'm talking about a little bit of smoke. This is a revolver, so like the shell stays in the gun. So it's a lot of power. It's definitely a powerful weapon. And he just offloaded it into his trunk and potentially rent it out to him. So I was very much so in shock. I ain't never really been that close to, anything like that. We've shot guns before, but they're not really that close to us. Or I was prepared for when someone's about to take a shot or something or do this threw me off guard. I'm like in shock. I'm still like processing everything. We obviously backed up a little bit. Like, oh, whoa. Because the bullet could have ricocheted. You know, the car is full of, hold on, my goodness. So yeah, I'm trying to right, almost getting shot in the face or getting shot because this gun could have ricocheted off of the trunk, hit my friend, hit him, hit one of us, hit somebody else. We parked in like the back area of the Home Depot, so nobody would really notice what we were doing. You know, people wouldn't know me. So we didn't really worry about that. We were worried about, you know, us getting shot. But luckily, we didn't get damage or anything like that. But still, it's really shocked us. We're like looking at each other like, bro, why would he have a loaded gun in the car? He instantly goes, oh, take that. You know, he just passes me the gun case. And then he goes, all right, man. And then, you know, we already did the money transaction. So you already had the money. You were just showing me the gun. And then he just dropped. He was off. Like, instantly dips up on people. People are looking around a little bit. They're like trying to, like, thinking they're like, was that a gun? Is that like a firework? Was that something that just dropped really hard? No, that was a gun. But luckily, nobody really picked up on it too much. Because I was young. I really didn't want to deal with anything like that right now. But yeah, that's the second story. Almost got shit. Alright, y'all. And it's the third story for y'all. I appreciate y'all staying around. If y'all like spirituality, if y'all care about, you know, self-worth and just being on that spiritual path and just trying to grow as an individual, MMA, boxing, reading, just self-improvement overall in all aspects of life, subscribe, like this video, you know, share it with a friend. But the third story time is a little bit sad. It's more sentimental to me. It's about my friend E and me. And this is around the time that I was 18. So it's kind of similar to that time of the last story because a lot of that stuff was going on around the same time in my life. But I'm glad I'm in a more spiritual path now, and E is a big part of that. And I just wanted to explain to you guys that you guys should really be careful about what you say and what you do. You never really know when you might not see someone again or be with a loved one that you care about again. So it's important to appreciate every time that you have together, you know, regardless of any little issue that you guys got going on. Alright, but so me and my friend here, at the time I was 18 when we met. He was like 27, so it was a significant gap. So he was kind of like a mentor to me. I looked up to him. He was someone that definitely had a big impact in my life, other than like my father and my mom. And like the friends I already had grown up with. It was someone that I found out later, like after high school. He was like a cousin to someone I was friends with, so we were always hanging out, always around each other. And this is the time when I was learning how to, you know, be more than just my myself around people. Like I could be, you can choose what kind of person you want to be. You know, I kind of created a different personality based on who I was talking to because not everybody is the same kind of person. I'm the kind of person who can talk to anybody, but not everybody can understand the same way or understands information or talks the same way. But he grew up in the ghetto in a way, and we connected off of things that other people wouldn't connect from. Like we would often talk about music because music is something that's a big part of my life. I always wanted to create music ever since I was young. I always loved being in front of the camera. I always wanted to create stuff with my voice or doing this behind the camera, being on YouTube. And anyway, changing people's lives in a positive way is important to me. And I think music is a great way to do that. Actually worked with Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez was before he was really popping, and helped him find his sound and find his style. So we would always be talking about how I could find my style in music and how I could become something of myself outside of just academics, because being in the Jamaican culture, it really pushes you towards academics, which is a great thing. It's great to learn. It's great to be smart and useful in society. But there's a lot of reasons why you should, maybe tap into your dream and do things that you normally wouldn't do if you didn't have everything pushing you in a certain direction. If money wasn't an issue, what would you do? But due to life and school and the things I was doing in my life, I wasn't really focusing too much on the music and the decisions that he was making in his life. We started to drift apart, and this is something that most people happen to go through. This is normal in friendship, and this isn't the reason why I'm just putting me on a spiritual path, but what happened to him is what put me on a spiritual path. So unfortunately, my friend, he lost his life to gun violence a few years ago, and every day I contemplate our conversations and how our words had everlasting effects on people, and how we would always make each other laugh and make people in the room laugh, and just try to, make the world smile, because we know how hard it can be sometimes. And that's just something that I'll never forget. And people will come and go in your life that you might not realize don't really get to live out their dream, because something might stop it, something might interfere with it, but you get to keep doing what makes you happy. So you should always be grateful for anything that you do, working, failing, struggling, going through hardships, anything, being happy, smiling, because it's a part of living, and you get to live still. Some people, they didn't get to live out their dreams, so every day that you don't do the things that you want to do, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. And that's where I want to end it all. I just hope that you guys resonated with that. Life is about making mistakes. I wanted to start this channel off by explaining, different stories about my life, because it's kind of hard to connect with people. Most people start their channels off with bangers and stuff, crazy thumbnails and crazy stuff, but I'm a more laid back person. I actually want to grow with my audience and connect with you guys and talk to, you guys, and try and connect with every comment, no matter at what level, I'm at, because, everything starts from right here and right now, and that's how life is. It compounds. So that's my story. That's my 3 stories of why SpiritualJah is on a spiritual path, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you learned anything, and if you learned anything from these stories, and have anything to try and tell and maybe explain, and maybe something that you went through, let's talk about it. I'm about to have a Discord, and I'm trying to take all this stuff real serious. So, young men, people like my age, old man, grandpas, women, anybody can have like an outlet to talk to each other, but in a positive way, and actually make the connections that you need to do better, and not keep waiting for things to happen in your life and actually do them. That's what life is about. But all right, y'all, let's get it. Stay locust.